Native Indigenous people, we try to start in a good way. I'm going to do something a little bit different this morning, all with good intentions, though, as well. So I'm going to ask wherever you're at, wherever you're sitting, hopefully you're not driving, but wherever you're sitting, I'm going to ask you to play along with me and close your eyes. Close your eyes, and we're going to take 4 deep breaths and really concentrate on those deep breaths. Maybe sit up straight, as though we're zipping up our jacket from our belly button all the way up to the top. That helps us sit up straight. We'll take 4 deep breaths in, 4 deep breaths out. Now while you're breathing, I'm going to ask that you feel the bottoms of your feet on the floor and really think about how that feels. Think about the bottoms of your feet touching the floor. Another deep breath in, deep breath out. Now what this does, this helps us get grounded in being mindful of where we are right now in this place. So with that, I'm going to ask that you, while your eyes are still closed and you're breathing deep and you're grounding yourself, think about the last time that maybe you held a newborn baby or seen a child laughing and playing. Think about how that made you feel. Think about that feeling that you got, that child gives you. Hold on to that feeling. I'm going to ask that you hold on to that feeling, if it's joy, if it's just happiness, if it's love. I'm going to ask that you hold on to that. It might be hope. Hold on to those feelings. And we're going to come back to that when before we close out today. One more deep breath. I want to thank you all for playing along with me there and helping us ground ourselves and remember the children. I mean, after all, that's what we're all here for and the work that we're doing. And so hold on to those feelings, those good feelings, those joyful feelings, those hopeful feelings. And like I said, we'll revisit that before we depart from the webinar today. Okay. So today's facilitators, I want to introduce myself and then I'll turn it over to our other facilitators. My name is Courtney Yarholer. I'm the program manager with the Ojjdp Tribal Youth Training and Technical Assistance Center, and we are located within the Indian Country Child Trauma Center, which is housed within the University of Oklahoma Health Sciences Center in the Pediatrics Division. And our primary focus is on trauma-informed care, impacts of trauma as it relates to our American Indian populations and underserved populations. And so with that, that's a little bit about us. I'll tell a little bit more later on, but right now I'm going to turn it over to Kara Mcdonough.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Kara Mcdonough, and I work with the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. I just wanted to introduce myself and to thank you all for joining us. I'm looking forward to sharing some information and to meeting you all. Hi, everyone.
You have been muted. Your microphone has been turned on.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Keisha Kersey. I'm a program specialist with the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention as well. And yeah, just happy to have everyone on the call and look forward to hopefully providing you with some good information. Thanks.
So we just wanted to share with you a little bit of an overview, what we're going to go through today. We're just going to do some introductions so that you know the other programs that are part of your cohort. And we want to make sure that you know who your point of contact at Ojjdp is. We have Darian and Keisha here in the room, and one of our other program managers isn't able to join us today, but we want to make sure that you have our information. And you'll also meet the Training and Technical Assistance Center staff, at least virtually. And then we want to just go over with you some of the resources that are available to you as you start the program, that are funded through this initiative, and as well as the programmatic and financial information, attached to administering this grant. And then we're going to talk to you about reporting and some of the other next steps that have to do with your grant award. So what we hope that you get out of it, again, is that you meet the folks who are going to be working closely with you over the life of this grant, and learn about the differences between your Ojjdp point of contact and the training and technical assistance providers that are here for you. And then just to make sure we know that there's a lot of information and a lot of different deadlines and a lot of reports. And so we want to make sure that we have time for any questions that you might have, and just to clarify for you those different things that you'll be hearing from our office. So just to start, really to congratulate all of you who received a Purpose Area 9 award, a Travel Youth Program award. Some of you I know have received grants from Ojjdp before, and some of you are new. But I really wanted to congratulate all of you. This is the distribution of grants that were awarded throughout the lower 48. So you can see that we're in quite a few places, some in the West and the Midwest, and of course in Oklahoma. As you probably know, we get a lot more grant applications than we can fund. Which is really a shame. We'd love to be able to fund all of them. But for 2017, this is where the travel youth programs are located that are funded by Ojjdp, as well as another 3 programs that are in Alaska. So welcome to everyone. One of the things that we really feel strongly about is how important it is to connect you as a group. We know that you really have the best information to share with each other, and that the successes that you have and the challenges that you encounter are really important to share. So that's a lot of the reason why we do these webinars and why we have these conferences, is to make sure that people get connected with each other and with your funding agency and the training and technical assistance providers. So just to ask you guys some questions, we should have a polling screen that will come up. We were wondering which of you has previously received an Ojjdp grant award, or which of you this is the first award. So if you can just click the appropriate box there, then we can kind of get a sense of who we have on the line with us today. And then the second question is really, do you already have a program that is serving youth? So you can click yes if you already have a program that's working, that this funding will support, or no, you're going to be starting one from scratch. So I appreciate people taking this poll. Looks like we're getting some results. So far, it looks like the majority of folks have had an Ojjdp grant award. That's great. You may notice that there are some changes from the last award that you have. Sometimes we have different requirements that come down from our funding source, which is Congress. And we've also tried to change things based on your feedback to make sure that this is a good experience for you all. And for the people who are brand new here and for your first grant award, a special welcome to you. This is a lot of information, and we just want you to know that if you have questions, there are places that you can reach out, and that we're looking forward to helping you have the most successful program that you can have. It looks like, let's see, the other question, it looked like there were partly programs that were already running and some that were starting brand new. Let's see. also maybe a little bit more that already has an operational youth program. That's fantastic. And then some who are starting from scratch. So we know that that's a really big job. And again, we're here to support you. Thanks so much for sharing that information with us. Okay, so this is a picture. We wish we could be there with you in person, but at least we thought we'd give you a picture of your program managers. I am the person to your far left. My name is Mcdonough, and my email is right below there. Like Courtney and Nick shared with you, you can download this PowerPoint and keep it as a point of reference. And there's also a sheet that actually shows you exactly who your TA provider is and who your program manager is, and that is in the presentation for download that's at the bottom of your screen. So the tribes that I'm going to be the point of contact here at Ojjdp for is the Confederated Tribes of Celeste Indians, the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, the Cherokee Nation, Coeur d'Alene Tribe, the Ponca Tribe of Oklahoma, the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, the White Earth Reservation Tribal Council, Bay Mills Indian Community, Fort Belknap Indian Community. So I'm looking forward to being in contact with you all. And then Carrie, who unfortunately was not able to join us today, she will be the program manager for the Mescalero Apache Tribe, for Navajo Nation, for the Pueblo of Acoma, for Puyallup Tribal Council, the Native Village of Nulato, Ketchikan Indian Community, and the Native Village of Barrow. So my colleagues are going to also introduce themselves and just share with you who they'll be working with this year.
Hi, this is Keisha again, and I'll be working with the Red Lake Band of Chippewa Indians, the Spokane Tribe of Indians, and the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe of Michigan.
This is Darian Hanrahan. I will be the program manager for the Quileute Tribe, Lacour Orel's Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa, Menominee Indian Tribe of Wisconsin, and Bad River Band of Lake Superior Tribe of Chippewa Indians.
And so now we'd like to talk a little bit about sort of the role of Ojjdp, in particular your program managers, and then after that we'll also talk about the role of the Tribal TTA Center. But in terms of the program managers, our main role is to support your program development and then also to monitor your program implementation. And the way that I look at that is, as you know, federal grants come with a lot of different types of requirements, whether it's regulatory or administrative or fiscal, and I see it as our role is to help you basically navigate all those requirements so that you can implement the best program that you can for your youth and in your community. So with that, we do a lot of grants management activities, including program monitoring. We're monitoring for fiscal requirements. Right now, everybody's in the process of getting their budgets cleared, and you may have a budget revision that you need to do in the future, so we'll help guide you through that process. If you have any type of programmatic changes or refinements, that's something you would work with us as well. Some of those changes may need a change in scope, and that's something that we would work together in order to make that happen for you. And then also, it's our role to sort of approve any key administrative actions. So if there's any changes in key personnel or in your grant scope or any type of those activities, you would work with us to make that happen. I think another part of our role is also to be sort of, I would say sort of advocates or mouthpieces, and I'll get that a little into that a little bit later when we talk about reporting, but just ensuring that you're in constant communication with us about your work and your project and your challenges so that we can be informed in how we work with you and make just basically fulfill whatever needs that you have in terms of the grants management aspect. So in terms of our monitoring role, there's a couple of things that are a part of that. We do annual desk reviews, and with those desk reviews, we basically look over all the information in progress reports or your financial reports that you submit. We look to see whether you've met all your special conditions or if there's still some paperwork or indirect cost rates that need to be submitted. We do that once a year. As I mentioned, once you all do submit your progress reports, and we'll get into that a little bit later, we review every piece of information that you submit, whether it's your narrative report, the financial report, or the quantitative performance measure information that you submit. We also do site visits. I think all of us basically do maybe around 4. It just depends on the program manager and their caseload. But we do get the opportunity to come out to see y'all, and this is probably one of my favorite things to do, to actually meet and talk to everyone and learn more about your communities and the youth that you're serving. It just gives you a really great vantage point in terms of just the work that you're doing. So I've found these to be very beneficial, and I hope that my grantees have felt that as well. In addition, there's grant adjustment notices. So again, if there's any type of changes or approvals or anything that needs to happen sort of on the official route, grants adjustment notices are a way of keeping track of that. We also look at your drawdown activity in terms of expenses, and then lastly, like I talked about before, regular communication is considered a monitoring activity. So I think all of us have an open door policy in terms of if you have any questions at all, definitely email us or call us. We'd rather have the questions ahead of time versus sort of afterwards, when it may be a little bit more difficult to work things through. But yeah, I think we all have an open door policy in terms of communication.
Great, thank you very much. This is Courtney Yarholer again with the Tribal Youth Training and Technical Assistance Center. I want to thank the program managers for their introduction. And we always, oftentimes, we present this information during the new orientation meeting, such as today. And but as the work begins and we're in our day-to-day activities, it can sometimes be difficult to remember who is who and who do I contact. And so just along the lines and to build upon that open communication and open door policy, utilize our staff and our team as well. This is our contact information for the Ojjdp Tribal Youth Training and Technical Assistance Center. Excuse me there. And you can contact us by phone or by email. This is our center email. It goes to our administrative staff here, our center here within the university, and we will filter it out accordingly. But if there's anything that you're not really quite sure who to ask, you can always ask your TA coordinator. And if we don't know the answer, we will help find the answer for you. And if it's something that we need to pull your program manager in on, we will do that as well. And so again, it's all about communication. So a little bit about introduction of our TA Center and what we do and why we're here and how we do our work and how we support you in your work. As I mentioned earlier, we're housed at the Indian Country Child Trauma Center here at the University of Oklahoma Health Sciences Center in Oklahoma. And the Indian Country Child Trauma Center actually focuses on training mental health, behavioral health professionals through a program called Project Making Medicine on trauma-focused cognitive behavioral health therapy. And so if you have any therapists within your programs or therapists within your teams that would be interested in attending one of the Project Making Medicine trainings, please let us know about that as well, because that is definitely a training that is housed within the Indian Country Child Trauma Center, and we offer that on a quarterly basis. But a little bit more about the Tribal Youth Training and Technical Assistance Center. We are here to support the work that you do in the communities that you're working with. I want to introduce some of our staff here at the TTA Center, or TTAC. You'll see that acronym. Our director is Dr. Dolores Bigfoot, Dolores Subia Bigfoot. She is Caddo and affiliated with the Northern Cheyenne Nation. She's from here in Oklahoma, and she's actually the founder of the Indian Country Child Trauma Center. And so Dr. Bigfoot unfortunately had something come up last minute and was not able to be here, but she extends her hellos and her apologies for not being here, and she welcomes all of you to the program, and happy that you got the opportunity to impact the lives of the children and youth in your community. The assistant director of the TTA Center is Ms. Anna Rangel Clough, and she is Yuchi in Muskogee Creek. And my name again is Courtney R. Holler. I am Pawnee, Sac and Fox, Oto, and Creek, Muskogee Creek. Our training coordinator is Ms. Gandra Lovell, and you will see a lot of different webinars that we produce, a lot of different training opportunities, and you may see her name associated with those. And she's of the Kiowa tribe here in Oklahoma. Our financial manager, and helps us keep us in line, is Ms. Courtney Henderson, and she is of the Seneca Nation here from Oklahoma. And our marketing communication specialist is Mr. Nicholas Birdshead, and he is Arapaho from Oklahoma as well. And so that's a little bit of our in-house staff that we have here. We also have training and technical assistance coordinators, or TTA coordinators. And they are located throughout Indian Country. So we have staff that work remotely, and as well as staff that work here in the central office. So we also have Miss Paulette Running Wolf, and she is Blackfeet, and she resides in Montana. We have Miss Natalie Stites. She is Cheyenne River Sioux, and she resides in Rapid City, South Dakota. We also have Erin Thin Elk. She is Sikanju Sioux as well, and she resides in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I believe. And then we have Tasha Friday, who is Wichita, Kiowa, and Caddo, and she resides here in Oklahoma and offices out of the central office. So if you have more than likely received an email from them, and will shortly, following this webinar, within the next week or so, be receiving more emails and phone calls to follow up from your TA coordinators. But we want to ensure that you have all the information that you need to get your projects off the ground. And we just thank you. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact your TA coordinator. We are here to serve you. So to continue on with the responsibilities of the TA Center, what we do, we support development of the projects. So we do that through culturally appropriate programming and evaluation. Recognizing that the strengths of each community, especially within our tribal communities, are unique to that community. And so we understand, as a all-native staff, and have years of experience working with tribes across Indian Country, understand and recognize the strengths within our tribal communities and utilize those to help leverage the impact of the work that you're doing. And so that's what we're here for. We also promote trauma-informed care principles, which we're recognizing that when working with our tribal communities, the historical trauma impacts the everyday lives of our community members. And so to effectively address those issues, we understand the importance of having a focus on trauma-informed care. And so we strive to do that within our work. We also promote effective prevention and intervention approaches and help coordinate resources. Because there's a lot of resources. There's a lot of opportunities, a lot of trainings. There's a lot of resources out there. And so we are here to help you by coordinating those resources for you. We do that through webinars, through a number of different methods. And what we hope is ultimately reducing the number of youth and juvenile justice systems and reducing exposure to trauma, because we know that exposure to trauma has a negative impact on our youth, and we see those numbers in the juvenile justice systems rise. So in terms of methods of how we deliver our TA, our technical assistance, and our trainings, is again, communication. weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, whatever is necessary and whatever is deemed appropriate between the grantee and their TA coordinator, we try to be responsive to your needs. And so maybe you're working on a project and you need us on the phone every day for a week or two. You know what, we'll do our best to make sure that we mobilize the resources to support you. If you're doing really well and you want to back off and say maybe meet monthly, we can support that as well. It's really working hand in hand and in a team effort with your grant staff and your point of contact with your grant. So we do it through telephone, WebEx. We have the WebEx service. We have this Adobe Connect service. We have webinars. We do joint webinars, regional trainings, communities of practices. We have a website and virtual learning opportunities. I'll talk a little bit about that coming up. And when necessary, we will even mobilize resources to do on-site visits. And those are by request, and you can talk to your TA coordinator to find out more information about that. And we also have a distribution list, which we send out a weekly newsletter. And so if you are not on that, please let us know, and we will add your name to that newsletter. And if you have any staff that come on during the life of your grant, let us know, and we will make sure that we add them to our newsletter. Guiding principles, again, trauma-informed care, understanding the impact of historical trauma, promoting culturally based travel-specific teachings and practices, and embracing the wisdom of elders that recognize that the answers lie within. If you haven't had a chance yet, please visit our website. Our website is www.tribalyouthprogram.org, and that is the website of the Tribal Youth Training and Technical Assistance Center. There you will get to read a little bit more about what we do. Get to read about, see our grantees, the tribal grantees that have been funded in previous cohorts, as well as your cohort. It'll have your contact information and things like that. Also, additional resources, training opportunities, and a training calendar. And so you can go and explore at our website. If you have any questions, please let us know. I wanted to highlight one specific resource that we have available on our website, and the portal is located on our website, and it's for what we call virtual avatar simulations. And what this is, it's basically an online training that is available to anybody and everybody within Indian country. If you're working with children and youth within Indian country, you should take these simulations. And these 3 simulations I'm going to start with the trauma-informed policing with tribal youth. It is geared and designed for law enforcement that work with tribal youth. They learn about historical trauma, and they learn trauma-informed care practices when interacting with tribal youth. Again, it's available free through our website. When you go to the website, search under the trainings, go down to the virtual avatar simulation trainings, and it'll take you to the link. You'll fill out a registration and be able to access all of the simulations. We also have the high school at-risk for high school educators, designed for teachers or any adults working with youth, working with high school students. And it's primarily focused on disruptive behavior, anxiety, cutting, cyberbullying, and thoughts of suicide. So it's a great complementary program if you have suicide prevention initiative or suicide prevention efforts going on in your community. So again, explore those. I implore you to explore those. And then the friend-to-friend simulation is for high school students. High school students, they learn how to recognize the warning signs of when a friend is in need or experiencing emotional difficulty, emotional distress. They learn how to identify the signs. They learn how to ask questions and approach their friend and refer them to help. And so that is the friend-to-friend. It takes about 20 minutes for a young person to go through the simulation. And we also now have that particular simulation not only available online, but it's available on your mobile devices. So if you have a smartphone, you can do a quick search right now in your app store, and you can search friend-to-friend, and you can download that, and it'll take about 20 minutes, and you'll complete the simulation. So just very quickly, the avatar simulation trainings, how they differ from any other training is I always say it's similar to a flight simulator for pilots, where they get to practice and having a difficult conversation, or they get to practice their skills, and they may even make mistakes, and it's okay, and nobody gets hurt. Well, that's the same thing with these avatar simulations. They get to practice the skills of talking and listening and doing reflective listening, and if you make mistakes, that's fine. You have a virtual coach that pops up and it walks you through the scenario, and so it's really a great interactive way to gain some skills. And so we're promoting these throughout Indian country, and they're available free for all grantees and basically members of federally recognized tribes. Let's see. Now what I'd like to do now is we are the training, like I said, the Training Technical Assistance Center for the Lower 48. We also have Alaska grantees, and there's a separate TA center for the Alaska grantees, and so I'm going to turn it over to the folks from the Resource Basket to tell us a little bit more about their services, their project, and their program. So, Tara?
Yep.
It's all you.
Okay, great. Shmai Hui, Tara Christensen Stiller, Languda Sufyakunangin, Hijahuit Mi Sukliana, Nunya Mi Suklia, Charlie Kinkovmek. Hello, everyone. My name is Tara Christensen Stiller. I'm a Lutic Aleut from Old Harbor and King Cove, Alaska. I work here in Anchorage at Rural CAP, also known as Rural Alaska Community Action Program, Incorporated, where our vision is healthy people, sustainable communities, and vibrant cultures. At Rural CAP, we work to improve the quality of life of low-income Alaskans by providing resources and services through Head Start, energy environment, housing, weatherization, health, youth support, and also through the Resource Basket. Next slide, please. Oops, sorry. There we are. So at the Resource Basket, we are the Alaska Native Youth Provider Network and Community Connection. We are the Training and Technical Assistance Center for all Alaskans who have been awarded the Ojjdp grant. Our mission at Resource Basket is to reduce disproportionate Alaska Native youth delinquency rates by increasing tribal community and youth serving organization capacity, to nurture positive youth development and support strength-based and data-driven juvenile justice approaches. Some of our goals are we host statewide resource center mobilizing multidisciplinary experts in providing training and technical assistance and support peer-to-peer interactions. We provide direct technical assistance support to Alaska-based Ojjdp grantees. Next slide. Our Tta Focus Areas are to support Ojjdp grantees in Alaska, community healing and wellness, youth development and prevention, early intervention, and diversion programs. So through our technical assistance, we're there similar to OKC's technical assistance program through phone, network, quarterly, anytime you want, we will be available to you. We're here for you. We work for the tribes, youth program staff, volunteers, parents, criminal justice professionals. We're all here for you to see the success of your programs and the outcomes in your communities. We also have a website. Please visit at www.resourcebasket.org. Also, we're on Facebook. Just Google the Resource Basket, or you can click on the link on the page. You can email us at resourcebasket@ruralcap.com, or you can email Greg and Neelan or myself, Tara Christensen Stiller, and our contact information will be at the end of the slide, the final slide at the end of this program. In the picture to the left, you'll see myself, Tta Christensen-Stiller. I'm the program manager, and Greg Anilon, he is our TTA coordinator. Also not pictured, we have our director, Kathy Clements, and support staff, Amy Modig. So I just want to thank you all. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm excited to meet you all in December at the CTAS training in Palm Springs. Kuyana, thank you.
Okay, this is Keisha again from Ojjdp, and Kara and I are going to take a few minutes to talk to you about some specific details and important things to know about your Ojjdp grant award. We're going to discuss the Grants Management System, or GMS, your award package, the special conditions on your award, and the process for clearing your budget. So first, there is the Grants Management System, which we refer to as GMS, and this is basically where your official award file is located. So anything related to your federal award is in this system. All your award documents, the special conditions, any your budget materials, this is basically where everything is housed. Everything sort of happens in the system. So we should definitely make sure that for those that need access to the system, whether it's your point of contact or your financial point of contact or authorized representatives, that they're all able to get in and access the system. They should have a grant ID and a password. And so if you have any questions about that process, definitely contact your grant manager. The GMS system is also where you will submit your progress and financial reports, and we'll get into that a little bit later. And you'll also submit any type of grant adjustment notices or changes in that system as well. This is a very important reminder. Just be sure that you go in and change all points of contact for GMS. And when I say that, I mean that all the points of contact should be the folks that are directly responsible for administering this grant. This is really important because a lot of communication from Ojjdp goes through the information, the contact information in GMS. So to make sure that everybody is getting the most up-to-date information, whether it's regarding TTA activities or even reminders. GMS sends reminders for when progress reports are due. You want to make sure that the contact information is up to date, so you all are getting the most up-to-date information. And if you need to make any of those changes, you would just go in and submit a grants adjustment notice, and your program managers can approve that through. If you need to change the authorizing official either now or during any time that your grant is active, you should submit that change on official tribal letterhead and then also state the reason for the change. And that'll just help the approval go through that much quicker. If you need assistance with GMS, smiling to myself because I often need assistance with GMS, you can use the help desk number, which is listed there, and they're incredible. They can actually see the screens that you can see. So they're really good at pinpointing any challenges or issues or giving you the next steps, the next steps that you need to do. We can't actually see your screens, which is kind of difficult. So the GMS help desks are really helpful folks. In addition, there are online training modules, and you can see it there. You can access it there at that link. Again, I use these as well to find out just exactly how GMS works and what you should be doing in there, so I encourage you to use these as well.
Okay, this is Kara again, and we just want to walk you through a few other administrative pieces in regards to your award. This is a link here that just talks about post-award instructions. So this is instructions on how to accept your award. I'm hoping that most of you all have already accepted it. It's basically a process where your authorizing official signs the award documents and sends it back, and then that sort of starts the process for you to be able to draw down your funds. So for anybody who's new, this is an important link here. And then the next stage in the process really is about clearing your budget for your award. So how that works is that whoever wrote your grant proposal submitted a budget along with that. Maybe you were part of that process or maybe you weren't. That budget, in most cases, in the majority of cases, was not approved before you received your grant award package. In most cases, what happened is that you received what's called a conditional award. So that means that after you've accepted your award, our finance office will do a more detailed look at your budget, and what they're looking for is whether or not your costs are allowable. They're looking at whether everything adds up. They're looking at whether or not you have submitted your approved indirect cost rate. So they're basically looking at lots and lots of details in regards to your budget. And what generally happens is that they have a few questions. A lot of times those questions are technical in nature. They want more details on one expenditure or another. Or again, a lot of times it is about your indirect cost agreement. And they will send those questions to your program manager here at Ojjdp. And then it's part of our job to send those questions on to you so that you can revise your budget and get it back to us, and we can get it approved through our finance office. So you can see that it goes through several different hands. And the quicker, if you get something back from your program manager, the quicker you can actually make those revisions and get it back to us, the quicker we can get you an approved budget, and then you can be on your way to being able to access those funds. One of the things that I've seen be kind of a problem or a barrier in the process is when we don't have the correct point of contact that we're sending it to. So generally we will send stuff to whoever's in GMS as the point of contact. If we're sending it there and that person has left, or it's not the appropriate person and they're not forwarding it on, then this process can drag on for a long time. So we want to really, that's why we wanted to bring it up today, to just alert you that you should be looking for these revisions, and just know that you should work as a partner with your program manager to get that budget cleared, answer any questions that might come up. If it also happens that you are getting this budget now and you're responsible for this program, and you realize that there are things in that budget that aren't correct, you'll probably want to be in touch with your program manager to see if there's still time to submit a different budget to be looked at. Because once the budget that we have in GMS is approved, then any changes you have to make have another process, which you're probably not surprised about if you've had federal grants before. But basically, we're not going to get into all that today, but it requires a grant adjustment notice. And so basically my counsel to you is that if you already know that there are changes you need to make, please do reach out to your program manager about that. So I wanted to bring this up. Most of you, well, hopefully all of you have received an email that went out from tribal grants at usdoj.gov that talked about the Cts Orientation. So this is an orientation that is not just for Ojjdp, but it's for every one of the Cts categories. And it basically, lets the tribes know that there is a requirement to send one financial person and then one person for each of the program areas for which you received an award. So if you just received a Purpose Area 9 award, then you would be sending one financial person and one program person. If you received 3 Purpose Area awards, then you would be sending one program person for each of those purpose areas, as well as one financial person. So on your Ojjdp award, you'll notice that there's a special condition that allows for travel to this required training in California, and this is the language that's on that special condition. So sometimes we know that your tribal processes require some steps, and your finance office might have questions about this expenditure, and if so, you will want to direct them to this special condition that, again, is in your award document. So we just wanted to, again, go over this new grantee orientation. It's December 5th and 6th. It'll be held starting in the afternoon on the 5th from 3 to 5, so it's a short session on the evening of the 5th. And that session is mostly about the financial management. And then it'll continue on the following day for a full day from 8 to 4:30. We know that some of you who have had these grants before have probably already attended this event. So if possible, if you have a new staff person that hasn't attended the event, we would ask you to prioritize them coming. But if you don't have any new people, we still are asking that you send representatives to this orientation. And we have tried to use the feedback that we've gotten to change up the training some, so it's not the exact event that you've been to in the past. Okay, so we have another polling question here. I wanted to see if we can get a little bit of participation, such as it is. So a couple questions. There's a couple processes for the in-person orientation. We're trying to figure out if people have registered for that yet, and if you've made your lodging reservations and travel arrangements. And again, we know that you guys have a process on your end. Unfortunately, we also have, well, fortunately or unfortunately, we have a process here on this end, and we have really tried to get this out earlier. We've heard you in the past say that it really would be helpful to have these things, the registration links, earlier, and we really tried, but unfortunately it just took a long time to get the approval on all of these invitations and save the dates. So it looks like the vast majority haven't registered or made reservations or travel arrangements yet. So I appreciate you guys letting us know that. And I would just, ask that if you have any questions about this, that you please let us know. Feel free to type them into the text box, and we definitely have some time to take those questions later. But again, it is a required training for one financial person and then one person per awarded purpose area. So just a few more words about, I used the phrase special condition, and that may not mean very much to some of you who haven't, who aren't familiar with the actual grant award package. So I just wanted to tell you that this is an important area in your grant award package, which is a series of papers that basically comes out of GMS that says, congratulations on your award, here's your conditional budget, and then here's all these special conditions. And we want to ask you whether you're a program person or a financial person, or if you're an administrator that is looking to hire the program person, that you would please pay special attention to the special conditions, to all of the special conditions, but there are a lot of them on there. So we want you to pay special attention to those conditions that are listed as withholding, because those are areas that indicate that your funds could be frozen if they're not met. So I've taken a screenshot of the special conditions page, And this red arrow here shows the column that indicates whether it's an unclassified special condition or whether it's something called a financial clearance memo or whether it's called a withholding condition. So if you can, review your award package and keep an eye out for those withholding conditions. So each grant may contain different withholding conditions, just depending on different things. If you have any questions about them, please feel free to contact your program manager. Sometimes there are things that were supposed to be in your proposal that didn't get submitted, and they can show up as a withholding condition. So an example of that is sometimes there's something that asks you to disclose whether or not you have other federal applications pending. If the person who submitted your proposal didn't submit that, you'll have a withholding condition on your grant, and your program manager can help you get that off by once you submit that required paperwork. But one condition that's on every grant is this one that's printed on your screen, and it says 25% prohibition of funds expenditure / milestones. And it's basically saying that once you have a cleared budget, you can obligate, expend, and draw down 25% of your award, but you can't obligate, expend, or draw down any more than 25% until you submit a performance milestone. So what that means is that there's a milestone that we're going to be working with you on. And the milestone, many of you are familiar with this if you've had a grant before. The milestone is the strategic plan that we work with you to develop for your program. And we're going to share more information about that at the Cts Orientation in December. So we know there's a lot on your plate. We know there's a lot of different requests coming, based on this award. I think oftentimes people are, really excited to get the award, and sometimes a little overwhelmed at the amount of paperwork and different things like that come with it. So what we would say is to really concentrate on getting to the Cts Orientation, and then we'll share more information about the next steps after that. One other thing we just did want to bring to your attention is that all awards that are made from Ojjdp also now contain a requirement to do financial management training for both the program contact in GMS and the financial contact in GMS. This is new. It just started last year. So we want to bring this to your attention, especially for those who may have had a grant before. This is a new requirement. You can do the training online, and the link to do it online is on your screen. And you basically have 120 days after your acceptance of the award. Okay, so we're going to just stop for some questions now.
Hi everybody, this is Gandra Lovell from the Training Center. I'm the training coordinator here in the central office. If you can please go ahead and start putting your questions in the question and answer box. We will go ahead. We do have a couple questions already that was typed in the chat box, and we'll go over those as well. It looks like a question came in from Ian Williams. If we have a financial point of contact that has overseen a previous Ojjdp grant, do they have to attend the December 5th through 6th training?
That's a really good question. The answer to that question is yes. There is a requirement to send a financial management, like a financial point of contact to this training. If you have someone in the finance office that has not gone to this training, we would ask that you prioritize them and send them. If you don't have anyone like that, maybe that you have a small finance office and this person is the only one, we still are asking that you send them to this training because some things have changed, and we want to make sure that everybody has the information that they need to manage these grants.
Okay, thank you. Looks like there's a question from Lucy. She said that they had tried to make their hotel reservations at the Renaissance. However, their rooms are not available.
Lucy, I wasn't aware of that, and I really appreciate you bringing that to our attention. As soon as this webinar is over, I will contact the people who are overseeing that hotel contract with the Renaissance, and we will send out something with some more information if there is an overflow hotel or if there's a miscommunication with the block of rooms there. So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention.
All right, looks like we have some people typing. All right, a question came in from the chat box. Will we get a notice on our revised budgets?
We will. You will get a notice from your program manager on the revisions that are being requested. If you do not have any revisions that are being requested, then you'll get a notice in GMS that your budget has been cleared. That's a pretty small chance that that'll happen. My experience is that there's always usually at least one request for a revision, even if it's small. But you may be in that very lucky minority of people, and if so, GMS would send you that notice.
Okay, looks like a couple people were asking. We are in the process of advertising for the positions, so who do we send to the mandatory training besides myself and accounting personnel?
This is a great question, and we understand that it often takes longer to hire than the beginning of December. So what we would ask is that you again send one financial point of contact and then just one other person and that would represent the program. So if I would advise you to send the person who's going to be responsible for supervising that person that you're hiring, or the person who's responsible for orienting them to their position. That's who I would send to make sure that they get the information and they can pass it along to the person who's ultimately going to run this program. And I hope that makes sense to you. If you have a follow-up question to that, please feel free to type it in the chat box.
Okay, it looks like a little comment came from Sabrina in the Q&A box. I know that our travel coordinator tried to get room rates and she was told $400 per night. I called this morning and they are $114, but the lady did not say that they were short on rooms. So if the grantees that are able to go ahead and make their hotel reservation, it looks like according to this, $114 is the rate.
That is great information, Sabrina, and I think that you probably needed to give them the DOJ code. There was a room code that went with that in order to get the $114 rate, and you would find that if you look in the presentation for download pod, there is something that says FY17, it's the third document down, FY17 Cts Orientation Announcement. In that letter, you'll find the code for the hotel, and so you definitely want to get the $114 rate. If there's anybody else that has had the same experience as Sabrina in terms of being able to make that reservation, if you could type in there and let us know too, that's super helpful.
Okay, a question. Our finance person who will be at another meeting that same time, and she has to be at multiple trainings. So does a financial person have to attend?
So that is that's the guidance that we have been giving, is that a financial point of contact would be required as well as a program person, because the agenda does include a presentation from the OIG, the Office of the Inspector General, and as well as from our Chief Financial Officer. So these are presentations that are really geared towards the finance people. You know, they're kind of specific around financial management of these grants. We have seen instances where these grants actually end up really being a problem for tribes if, you know, a lot of these rules aren't understood or followed really closely. So that's a lot of the reason why we're trying to provide additional training, is to make sure that this doesn't end up actually being a problem for you. So I would say, if, you know, it sounds like you don't have very many financial people, and they may be, you may have to choose which meetings that they attend, and I would, you know, that's, perhaps there's a tribal leader that might be willing to go. So that's something that you guys, you know, would need to discuss amongst yourselves.
All right, a question. How do we access the $5,000 for training costs for the December training?
Great question. So what you would do is it's not that you will be able to draw, if you don't have a cleared budget, which most of you do not, you won't be able to draw those funds down. But what you can do is you can obligate those funds. Your tribe can obligate them, and then once your budget is cleared, you'll be able to draw them down to reimburse your tribe those expenses. So the $5,000, it's not expected that you would use that much. It's just, you know, that's in the special condition to allow you up to that amount to access those. So that's what you would do. You would work with your finance office to make those arrangements. And if they have concerns that the tribe wouldn't be reimbursed for those costs, you should call their attention to that special condition that's on that slide. And if they still have questions, you can contact your program manager directly.
All right, a question in the question and answer box. We have an individual that is our FPOC that has already completed the financial management online training. Does this individual need to attend the December training?
It's a great question, and the answer is yes.
Okay, looks like we have a lot of activity regarding the hotel rooms in the chat box. Some people have called, and looks like they're just getting different answers depending on who they're talking to.
Okay.
Everyone, you might pay attention to the chat. And also, after the webinar, the chat transcript will also be emailed out to everyone in attendance today.
Okay, great. Yeah, this is really helpful information. It looks like someone booked at the Courtyard Marriott. Brad, could you just type, Brad says that he booked at the Courtyard Marriott. Could you type in there and let us know, can you confirm that you were able to get the government rate at the Courtyard Marriott? That's great. I appreciate the help, all of you. I did see one other question in here. Jeffrey had asked, when do we need to give you our team of 4 people? And the answer to that is not until after the Cts Orientation in Palm Springs. So it sounds like Jeffrey has had some experience with our strategic planning in the past, but that's not something that anybody has to worry about until after we see you and we spend some time with you in Palm Springs. Okay, is that it for questions, Gandra?
Yes, it is for right now.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we'll have another opportunity.
Hi, this is Keisha again from Ojjdp, and I'm going to spend the next few slides talking about your reporting requirements. There are 3 different components. One is the SF425, which is your financial status report, or I call it the federal financial report, but this is basically where you'll be reporting on all your expenditures. It's due quarterly, and the due dates are listed there on the slide. And for those that don't see the slide, it's January 30th, April 30th, July 30th, and October the 30th. The second reporting requirement is your Categorical Assistance Progress Report, or the CAPR. I usually just refer to this as your Narrative Progress Report. So this is where you'll basically give updates about the work that you're doing, and this is due twice a year on January 30th and July 30th. And then the last component is the Performance Measures tool. This is formally known as the DC-TAT for those of you that have had grants before, but this is where you report on the quantitative performance data for your grants, and this is also due twice a year. And I'll go into more specifics on the next slide. So for the financial reporting, the SF425, or the federal financial reporting form, again, it's due quarterly. One thing to note here is that you'll be reporting on actual expenditures for that specific reporting period, not on drawdowns or not on projected expenditures. If you do submit it and have any changes or revisions that you want to make, you can make those revisions up until the end of the following quarter. And then if you have any questions about the form or anything on it, or just any questions at all, we've listed the OCFO help desk number there. Now for your narrative progress report, or the CAPR, as I mentioned, this is due twice a year. Your first project report will cover October 1st through December 31st. And again, that one's due on January 30th. And I'll say ahead of time, it is okay if you pretty much write, we've been working on hiring individuals, and we've been working on getting our budget cleared, because sometimes not a lot of activity is happening during that time frame. So I would just, put whatever is accurate. And if you've just been working on getting your budget cleared, that makes sense. That's accurate. This is submitted online in GMS, and the other important thing to mention is that if you submit the report, if you're late in submitting the report, there will be an automatic hold on funds, an automatic hold placed on your funds. The system just automatically does that. Your program manager has no authority or ability to provide extensions or to extend the deadline for a progress report. So, and I've asked that question, and we're just not able to do it. It's something automatic that happens in the system. So I would encourage you, when you get those reminders that your progress report is due, to go ahead and try to get it in as soon as you can, or else an automatic hold will be placed on it. And then the last report is, again, the Performance Measures tool, and we'll be going over this in more detail at the Cts Orientation, but again, this is where you'll be reporting on the quantitative performance measure data that you outlined in your application. You'll be reporting in this system on that information. It is a separate website, and you'll go into that website. You'll have a separate sort of login and password and account. Once you fill out the report in that website, what you'll do is save a copy, and then you'll upload that copy to your narrative progress report in GMS. So it's sort of a two-step process. And you'll get more information about this at the CTAS training. And then there will also be more training provided specifically on the PMT. In the past, it's been an online training that you could take at your own time. And I think the only other thing that I would say about reporting is for you to provide, you don't need to provide 10 to 20 pages, but for you to provide enough information to give us a sense of how you're progressing on your goals and objectives, talking about whatever challenges you may have encountered or, the accomplishments that you've made. These progress reports give us a really good insight into the work that you're doing, and then also they help inform how we provide assistance. A lot of this information is shared out to our leadership. We get lots of data requests from Congress and other members of our administration leadership, and this information is always very, very useful. So just look at it as an opportunity to really talk about and describe just what you're encountering in your programs. We definitely do look at it, and we definitely do use it. And then lastly, if you need any assistance with submitting any of these reports, these 3 bullets give the contact information. So if you have any issues submitting your progress report, the GMS help desk information is there. If you're having issues with the financial report, you can contact the Office of Chief Financial Officer help desk. The number is listed there. And then finally, if you're having any issues with the performance measures tool reporting, the help desk number is listed there as well.
Okay, so we just wanted to now go over again some of the key trainings and events that are coming up. So the first one you'll see is this new Grantee Orientation online today. So we really appreciate you being here. And hope that it was useful to you. The next one is the one that we've talked about quite a bit today, which is the Cts New Grantee in-person meeting. And again, the letter that gives you more information about that is in the presentation for download box. And then after that, we do a strategic planning meeting, and that is the one where we ask you to bring a team. For the Alaska grantees, that's going to occur in February, and for the lower 48, it's going to occur in March. You can save the date for March, which is 14th through the 16th. We do not have the location yet, but we'll be able to share that with you once we see you in person in California, and we'll talk more about that then. So we know that was a lot of information and wanted to just pull together the key next steps. Please do register for the Cts orientation and make hotel and travel arrangements. Please refer to your grant special condition if your administration has questions regarding the allowability of obligating funds. And please change the GMS points of contact if that's necessary. One other thing that I should have put on here is please be responsive to your program manager if they ask you for revision to your budget, because that's another key next step. Okay, so we just wanted to make sure there was, some more time if there were any other questions, anything people wanted to clarify.
Looks like we have a question from Cookie. My web access, today's webinar has been spotty. Will you make this presentation available for awardees? Yes, Cookie, we will. And for the time being right now in the presentation for download, you can download a copy of the PowerPoint presentation that's presented. All you have to do is highlight it, and at the bottom it will say upload file or download file. Highlight the one you want to download, click the download file, and it should download to your computer. Then another question, is those hours Eastern Standard Time Zone?
I'm not sure which hours.
Yeah, what hours are you referring to, Mr. Gregg? And it looks like we have some typing going on.
So I just wanted to say to everybody who registered for today's webinar, we will send out a thank you email, and it will include everything that's in the download box. So it'll include this PowerPoint, and it'll include the other sheets that we've been referring to. So if you're just listening and you haven't been able to, get in to download any of these things, you'll get them in the thank you email that we send out following this.
Okay, Greg, he said the hours available for assistance to the tribes. So the GMS help desk, the CAPA reporting, the 1-800 number to call in, and it had the hours there for assistance.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Thanks for that clarification. The hours that are on there are Eastern Time.
Okay, and please feel free to, type in any other question that you have. If we don't answer it today on the call, we will answer it directly via email after the presentation is over with. Another question from Ian. Is there any ballpark time of when I will be contacted regarding the budget that was submitted? I was not part of that process and would like to get that solidified going forward.
Okay, that's a great question. Ian, I would say that it really varies, and I do know that I contacted our finance office to ask them specifically about a budget that someone contacted me about, and they let me know that they have, lots and lots and lots of budgets that are on their list that they're trying to work through. But I would say that if you contact your program manager and let them know that you're really anxious to get that solidified, they will contact the finance office and ask them, to kind of check on it. And oftentimes when we ask them to check on it, it helps move it along in the process. So do feel free to contact your program manager directly about it. Especially if you don't hear anything, I would say, if you don't hear anything at all by mid-December,